Ian, what is the prescription for Angela Merkel? You look at the span of the European experiment back to Monnet, the end of World War II, even back to the Atlanta Charter. Angela Merkel's in the crosshairs. What does she need to do?
Well, look, I don't think there's a win for her with Brexit because ultimately everything she wants is going to be subverted by the politics, both working inside the UK, the difficulties of actually getting any opening on immigration that would allow for a deal for remaining in the common market, and also within her own country where she has dealing with more populism, a desire to punish and to ensure that the core EU remains together, as well as all the other Europeans who are going through their own electoral cycles. Let's make sure.
Yeah,
let's
David
understand
that earlier.
And Merkel has her own, right? So, I mean, I think that Merkel's game here is no longer a short game. It's a long game. It's what do you do to ensure that there is a core Europe which subscribes not only to economic integration, but strongly to shared political values. She can't be thinking about the next Hungarian referendum that's going to subvert rule of law. She can't think about the Austrian elections coming up in October that are going to lead to a government she can't abide. She has to think about what remains in 10 years' time. Let's orient towards that.
Right, but Ian, it's very clear from what David was saying a couple of minutes ago that actually we thought, maybe until a couple of months ago, that what would really test Angela Merkel would be the political crisis, immigration, and the refugee crisis. Actually, her most imminent problem is how you deal with the banks, with the European banks, and in particular, Italian banks.
Oh, if only there were just one crisis that was going to test Merkel. And I think that the challenge we have is that these crises do not happen in isolation. There's going to be another Greek crisis coming. There will be a crisis of rule of law. There is the reaction to Brexit. I mean, there's all these historic moments. And David, of course, is, completely on top of the central banking issue. I wish I could say it was just one. I'm a political scientist. Every geopolitical risk in the world right now of size is pointed directly at the heart of Europe, and that means Angela Merkel. It's refugees, it's terrorism, it's the diminution of the most important experiment in supranational democracy that had been taken since World War II. I wish it was just one crisis that she could focus on.
Right, but Ian, how many crises can we deal with and still, have the region holding together?
Well,
two crises, three crises before we
deal with them. I mean, if you were truly dealing with them, probably just one. But of course, they're not truly dealing with them. What they're doing is they're doing their best to avoid them and kick them down the road. I mean, if there was one turn of phrase that we used to describe Europe consistently since 2008, it was kicking the can, which fundamentally means avoiding crises, not really even managing them, certainly not resolving them. Merkel's done that successfully until she hasn't. And I guess I would argue that increasingly the number of crises that are facing her, as well as her reduced popularity, is making the age-old response of the Europeans to crisis a little bit less effective.